From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Friday, September the 6th, 2024. The IDF continues to conduct a counter-terror operation against Hamas members in the West Bank, giving today an operational summary from Jenin, where it said it eliminated some 14 terrorists, including the head of Hamas in Jenin, who directed shooting and explosive attacks in the area and was responsible for advancing terror attacks in Judea and Samaria, the West Bank. In addition, the IDF said many terrorist infrastructures were destroyed, including an underground weapons stockpile located under a mosque and a laboratory for the production of explosives. The IDF continues to defend Israel's northern border with Lebanon against terror group Hezbollah, which today launched several explosive-laden drones at northern Israel. The IDF saying that several suspicious aerial targets were identified that crossed over Lebanese territory. Most landed in open areas, and there were no injuries reported, though firefighters were battling a blaze that was sparked by one of the falls. Israel's Air Force responded to the attacks, carrying out airstrikes on Hezbollah terrorists and terror infrastructure in Lebanon. And the IDF continues its ongoing battle against Hamas in Gaza, eliminating terrorists and terror infrastructure. White House National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby also noted the cooperation with Israel to enable the World Health Organization's polio vaccination campaign in Gaza this week. Telling the press yesterday, we've worked closely with the government of Israel to facilitate the necessary access and safety of the vaccination campaign, including securing pauses in military operations and a commitment to timely deconfliction mechanisms. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, speaking to the press yesterday from a visit in Haiti, was asked about the efforts to reach a hostage release ceasefire deal between Israel and terror group Hamas and about the status of the current situation. Blinken saying that from what he has seen, about 90% of a deal is agreed upon, but there are a few critical issues that remain, saying it's really incumbent on both parties to get to yes on these remaining issues. Blinken saying the U.S. was in very active discussions with Egypt and Qatar towards reaching that goal.
And I expect in the coming days, we will share with Israel and they'll share with Hamas our thoughts, the three of us, on exactly how to resolve the remaining outstanding questions. And then it will be time really for the parties to decide yes or no. And then we'll see.
Parents of American-Israeli hostage Omer Nutra, Ronen, and Orna spoke last night at the Republican Jewish Coalition Annual Leadership Summit in Las Vegas, speaking about the critical plight of their son and the remaining hostages being held captive by Hamas in Gaza, now for 336 days. The Nutras led a moment of silence in memory of the 6 hostages, including fellow American-Israeli Hirsch Goldberg Polin, executed by Hamas just a day or two before IDF forces reached them this past weekend. The Nutras stressed to the crowd, much like the parents of Hirsch did at the Democratic National Convention just 2 weeks ago, that this was not a political issue, but a dire humanitarian issue, and urging a deal to bring the hostages home. Rona Nutra saying there can be no victory in Israel's existential war against evil Hamas and all barbaric Iran-backed terrorist groups without the return of the hostages.
As proud Americans that love Israel, we need to unify in a way that supports and allows Israel to get the hostages back and most effectively fight Hamas and other enemies in the region who are a threat to democracy and American interest in the region and around the world.
Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Friday, September the 6th. Live Shabbat services are coming up at 6 o'clock from New York City's Central Synagogue, followed by Shabbat services from the Hampton Synagogue. Then it's Jewish Insights with Justin Pines and Shai Held, Staurt Weitzman in the Spotlight, and David Harris defending Israel, followed by a replay from the Hampton Synagogue and a replay from Central. And coming up next, a look at this week's Torah Portion. And that's the JBS News Update for Friday, September the 6th, 2024. I'm Teisha Bader. Shabbat Shalom. Am Yisrael Chai.